motor. I'm gonna get myself a motor. I'm gonna get myself a motor. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lunch Therapy Interview Friday. Today's a fantastic show. We're going to show some skin on the show. We're going to put some skin in the game. We're going to have Linda Chaé here, who's an expert on skincare and also an amazing entrepreneur with an amazing story. So we're just really lucky to have her on the show. I wanted to mention I've got a new website just for anybody who wants to and anybody who watches the show, yourmovielist.com. You can go there. Remember when you used to have, like, I don't know, maybe you remember this. You used to have albums or DVDs or a big collection of all your favorite movies, and now we just have it all streaming online, and there's just no way to quantify it or look at it or feel good about it or recommend it to other people. Well, now you have a chance to go to yourmovielist.com, make yourself a movie list, make a top 10 list. You can share it with everybody. People can browse yours, get movie ideas. You can make comments on them. Anyway, go there, check it out. It's super fun. Guignel Hoy, Neil Phillip is here. Todd Lee is here. Great to see you, Todd. Howard Aronin. If you all have gone on yourmovielist.com, start building up your list. So far, my list is getting up to 200 and something. Another viewer, Rob Wood, his is hitting towards 300. So get it in there, check it out. And I want to say thank you to all the Patreons. Thanks, everybody, for watching the show. We have the show on Tuesday, and we have it on Friday, every Tuesday and every Friday, noon Pacific time, 1 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock in Kansas, 3 o'clock in New York, 7 o'clock in the UK, 12:30 in the night in India. But we have people from all over the world come on Tuesday and play trivia with us, so check that out as well. Welcome to people on TikTok. To Hoy is the way we say hi on this show. Down below, Neil, Sethward, Jason, Daniel. Daniel is one of the best trivia players that I have come across, and Mary Marks. So great to have you all be Patreons, and there are many more. Fridays, like today, we interview somebody interesting, somebody that has information that is vital to our happiness. And today is no exception. We have Linda Chaé on the show. She's in the green room. We're also going to have a surprise appearance by Mama J later on, who's also my co-host, of course, on Tuesday. If you haven't been to the Tuesday show, you got to go, because it is rocking. It is rocking. Not only do we do the contest, but we also talk about the day's events. We do movie reviews. Mama J does movie reviews, TV reviews. I just have a good old time. Let's see what Neil says. I just discovered if I send out more messages than Todd, I become the #1 king. Yes, you could become the #1 king in the chat room. Feel free during the interview today, because it's live, to chime in. Don't make me say anything embarrassing, though, because I try and read these things. And sometimes you make me look like a fool. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, here we go. We got to breathe first. Okay, this is not really a guided meditation, but it's going to make you feel good. We're going to take in 3 deep breaths while listening to healing vibrations tingle our brains with their sound bowls, and also their, I don't know what those are, shells? Whatever they are, they're cool. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. In through the nose, out through the toes. You can head on over to Healing Vibrations anytime you want. Do this type of a meditation. You'd even sleep to it. I know I feel better after that. Really feel good. You know, the skin is the largest organ of the body, and sometimes we neglect it. Sometimes we don't hydrate it well enough. Sometimes we don't put the wrong products in there. Today we're going to check in on that, get some knowledge about that. Really looking forward to that. Danielle says that felt good. It does. It feels good. Let's do one more. In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. I'm going to look at a few rhinoceroses. This is from the Oregon Zoo. That was a rhinoceros. This is a otter? No. What is it? This is a sea otter, I guess that was, and a giraffe. Snacking. Sometimes it's good to watch animals snack. Yes, it was not a capybara. Oh my gosh, there's a possum. Opossum. Eating a flower of some sort. We love animals on the show. That's a beaver. All right. Enough of that. Interview Friday. So we have Linda Chaé on the show, and Linda, she started a business. Well, she bought a business at 21. She was a model. She bought a cosmetic line at age 21, not really knowing that much about it. She started selling out of yellow Volkswagen Bug, formulating products in her kitchen, learning. From there, she moved to a production that involved a tank built from an old whiskey still and a stick mixer. I don't know what a stick mixer is, but I'll find out. Somehow, she turned all that into a full-scale manufacturing operation in Walsenburg, Colorado. She spent the last 3 decades building Chaé Organics into one of the most distinctive brands in the organic skincare world. She pioneered something called ToxicFree, the ToxicFree standard, which is actually a registered trademark of hers, long before that really existed. And she's done a lot of things, lobbying Congress, meeting with the FDA, appearing in more than 200 television talk shows, made it her life's mission to educate consumers about the chemicals hiding in everyday products. So we're going to take a look at a little clip here from the past with her talking about this, and then we're going to bring her on. Like and subscribe.
There are things we use every day, soap, toothpaste, and shampoo, but are they harmful to our health? To answer that question is herbalist Linda Chaé, and she joins us this morning. You know, I have a pound of makeup on, and I guess we're talking about makeup, that some of the ingredients in it can be harmful. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
There are a lot of ingredients in makeup, skincare, deodorant, toothpaste that are made from petroleum, and they're finding more and more side effects to these ingredients with petroleum. Some of them include hormonal disruption, and we are seeing such an increase in breast cancer. Even men are dying of breast cancer now. And the troubles that our children have with ADD, many of these are beginning to be linked to some of the petroleum ingredients that are in the products that we use. And because the skin is the largest organ of the body, they really do penetrate. You know, it's kind of a myth that, well, we put it on our skin and it stays there. But transdermal patches are one of the industries that really prove that things do penetrate our skin.
All right, welcome to Lunch Therapy, Linda Chaé. So great to have you here.
Thank you, Joel. It's wonderful to be here. Boy, you went back in history.
Yes, I
That
did.
was, I think that was, I don't know if that was 15, 20 years ago, but that was a ways ago.
I love it. And you're still looking great to this day. And I mean, can you tell us about this? You basically, you were a model, right?
Well, I worked for a modeling agency.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I did little modeling, but mostly I was the hard worker. I was the one that was ordering her products, putting her labels on, driving the products from the lady I worked for around to salons and modeling agencies. And then when she decided to run off to Rio de Janeiro with a boyfriend, she said, Linda closed down the business. And all the customers were like, no, no, we love these products. Don't do that.
Oh, wow.
And so at age 21, I was like, well, what do I do? You know, I'm working on getting my history degree at the university. I decided to take on her product line. So I bought it and went into my first debt
Did you?
at that age because I had to buy inventory and
It's a
set
big thing.
myself up. And it was that stage of my career lasted about 7 years
Did you learn a lot
I-
about business kind of on the fly? Because it's really hard to run a business, isn't it? I mean,
It is. It's challenging. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a double Taurus. God gave me the gift of not knowing the word no.
yeah.
And that the more challenging it gets, the more I dig my teeth in and keep going. So one of the things that one has to do in business is just truly keep their eye on the mission. And the mission is more important than the bottom line, but the bottom line comes right behind it. You can't go out of business.
You can't
And
achieve your mission.
one's gotta, yeah, one's gotta realize that their customers are what the business is made of, and their employees are what the business is made of. So, gosh, I've been in business, I'm 75, and I've been in business since I was 2021.
So there's a couple of things here that I'm curious about. You were selling the product out of your yellow Volkswagen Beetle. Were you going around? Were you like a really good saleswoman?
No,
No?
I don't think so. I already was taking over Kathy's business that she had established. I don't know, there was like 20, 30 salons in Denver. There was 3 modeling agencies. And then I started doing my own clientele in a salon. And I think I'm more of an educator than I am a salesperson. So one of my clients that I was doing facials for and those individual eyelashes because
Oh my
she
gosh.
had chemotherapy and all the eyelashes had fallen out. She got me on a local television show, and next thing I knew, I had a clientele. I had a closed business. I couldn't take any more new customers.
Whoa.
So it was just from one thing led to another, and I don't know, maybe I'm a salesperson, but boy, Joel, I wouldn't pat myself on the back with that
What is
one.
this thing about a whiskey still that you use to make product? Can you tell us about that?
Well, leaping forward
Is
to
that
the
far?
1995, yeah,
Oh,
it
really?
was quite a leap there.
Well, wait, I
And
want to say
I
one thing. You said 7 years in, and I don't want to interrupt you in that. You said 7 years in, something happened. Can you tell us about that before we go to
yes,
1995? Yeah.
7 years in, I began to learn that skincare could be extremely toxic. And that was because I'd gotten married. My mother-in-law, Julia Hoagland, loved that woman. And back then, mastectomy, they would strip all the lymph nodes in the arm. It was really quite more severe than it is today. So in order to help get the pressure in her arm to go down, and because I had my salon and I was really good with massage and draining the lymphatic system, when I'd work on her and she would bring in her department store cream, very famous one, she'd have a hard lump here and here within 10, 15, 20 minutes after putting on that cream. And
Whoa.
she'd go, Linda, that's very uncomfortable. I don't think you should drain anymore. And I'd go, well, I haven't even started draining. I said, let's, next time, let's just use milk and oatmeal and those things. Never a lump. So I began to question what was in those products. So I went back to the university and started studying chemistry because there weren't labels on products
There were
in the
no
70s.
labels. Yes. Oh my goodness. Remember
Couldn't read
that?
the
There were no
labels.
labels.
No. And who knew about a material safety data sheet and your right to ask for it? Nobody knew about that.
Oh.
So at the university, of course, that's part of the education. So I wrote the lab that was making the products that I had taken on from Kathy when she had run off. And I realized, oh my God, there's carcinogens, there's mutagens, and there's penetrating agents in my skincare. So then I ran, I paid for those sheets on that department store line. It was 10 times worse than the products I had that I was buying
Wow.
from a chemist that Kathy had set the business up with. So 7 years in, I went, I can't do this. I can't sell these products.
So bold of you too,
So my
because you
business
could
was
just go on and be like, la, 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 la. But instead,
Yeah, no. I threw out $33,000 worth of inventory. So when someone says to me, oh my God, well, I have to use up what's in my cosmetic drawer first. I can't just throw it away. And I'm like, you can probably throw away a few $100s if it's that important to you.
wow.
From experience, I threw away all my inventory.
And then how did you start remaking the products?
That's a great question. I realized that pigments, earth pigments, that those would be very healthy for us, and we needed those minerals. So I found three things. I found hydrolytes, which are in some of our products absolutely still today, that are from plants, plant waters. I found earth minerals, and I began to pack them into containers, went to some beauty shows, went and got my first loan at 28, 29, my second big loan. My first loan was from my mother. Second big loan was an SBA loan, 90,000. Oh my God, I really put
Wow.
myself on the line.
Yeah.
$90,000 loan to market into salons. And I went to shows in every city, everywhere where a beauty dealer would sell my products. And I would teach people, look, you can put it on for blush, you can rub it with oatmeal and make a scrub, you can wear it as eyeshadow, you can streak your hair with it. So I had about 10, 15 uses I would do with these loose powders. My business grew so I couldn't package them all myself. So my son by then was about a year old, and no, he was 2 years old. So I had a Korean lady, my babysitter knew, and I said, would you help me package this? And she goes, oh, yes. After the first day, she says, I bring friends. The next thing was, hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on, go, wong. That meant they had to switch. They had to move it down, and the next lady had to put the cap on it. She knew industry.
Wow.
You know,
They had
but
like a
my
whole
garage-
communication system.
Yeah,
for the
my
assembly
garage
line.
was just dust-filled powders. So I did that for a long period of time. That was about 9 years.
I think your story should be called Breaking Good, like as opposed to Breaking Bad. Because you totally broke good. Yeah. So, okay. So tell us about the whiskey still.
Well, then when I started making my own products,
Yeah.
creams and lotions, a friend in the industry that was selling me raw materials that could make a lotion hold together, he said, well, how are you mixing this? And I said, in a bowl. And he goes, no. He said, you need a tank. I said, oh, a tank. And he said, and you need a mixer. And I said, what kind of mixer? He said, one that goes really fast. I said, okay, I'll go get that before you come visit in a month and show me how to do this stuff. So I went and got a whiskey still. I didn't know where to go buy a tank. At that point, I was living down here on a ranch in La Vida. So this whiskey still cut the top off, and now I've got a tank with legs. He didn't say I needed a double jacketed tank. He hadn't been that specific. I went to the store that sells restaurant supplies, and there's a big stick mixer. It's very long, and you use it to make pea soup, high speed. I would do that in the mixer. So I had myself a tank and a mixer. And he came to visit, and he went, oh, that's not quite what I meant.
Really?
He said, why don't you fly to Los Angeles? Let me show you a lab. I was like, okay. So that set me on the path to know what kind of mixers I needed to buy. And within 5 years, I had clients like a lady that turned out to be an absolutely dear friend, Suzanne Summers.
Oh,
I had
company?
Nature's Pearl out of the out of North Carolina, and I was making products for. I thought I was only going to make products for me, and then I started making products for people that really knew how to sell, that knew how to market, and they were ordering thousands and thousands of pieces. Kind of a game changer. I was only making 30 jars at a time.
oh my gosh.
So then rev up. Then I had a whole lesson in how to go from small to scale up.
Did
But
you
we did it.
did you always do this as a sole proprietor, or did you ever have partners or anything like that?
My husband became my biggest partner and champion. He had retired. I had made a product for him called Aloe 99. I'd made the formula and all the specs, had gone to the aloe farms and how we were to extract it, and that it wasn't to be mixed with maltodextrin. And he was in all the department stores. He was in Walmart, Walgreens, grocery stores, Aloe 99. So he'd retired now by the 1990s, year 2000. And I said, boy, honey, I really need you to come run the money part of the business. I'm busy running the
Yeah, it's a lot.
chemistry and making formulas and helping customers know what to put together. And I need you to really come in. And he did. And my best friend and my husband still today.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story. I'm going to play a little clip here about your perfection serum, and then I'd like to talk some specifics about skin, because a lot of us have no idea what's going on. But as we get older, we're like, what the heck's happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah, why?
Why?
Hi, I'm Linda Chaé, and one of my favorite products is Perfection Serum. The reason is because we all pay attention to the outside of our face and how it looks. But what's so important is the inside. Have you ever seen those photos with black light where you see all the lines and spots? You know, I wore my blouse today specifically to kind of show the irregular spottiness that's underneath from being in the sun. Even when we were 5 years old, we started getting some damage. Or stress. None of you have stress, right? All the things that does to our skin. So what helps repair that? We studied and researched all of the ingredients and came up with Perfection Serum. We call it See the Difference because we have a lot of vitamin C in this product. Underneath our skin, we've got all this damage that's going to progressively get worse if we don't begin to do something about it. It's kind of like that first sign of being dehydrated. You take a glass of water, great. You wait and you don't drink water, you get a headache, you get constipated. Well, underneath your skin, it gets constipated with all the damage. So what we're going to do is a simple routine I'm going to recommend if you want to do what I do. Every night, I put on my Perfection Serum and tell my skin, you're perfect. No matter what you look like, you're perfect.
Oh, I like that. Be kind to ourselves. You know, we got a comment here. I'm always so proud and happy to learn one's success comes from interest, curiosity, passion, and finding the belief in one's purpose. Most inspirational, loving Linda Chaé. That's very
Thank you.
nice. Thank you, player 1174. So this is fascinating. What happens with these products and how you can. So you talk about this stuff going on under the skin. Can you talk to me about what is going on here?
Absolutely. In the salon, we learn to use a black light.
Yeah.
And a black light lets you see where the skin is dense from toxins and melanin. So all the damage is reflected in the dark spots. And the dark spots are eventually going to get worse and worse. I mean, this person in the image is probably in her early 30s. By the time she's 40, 50, the added wrinkles, the added brown spots, and potential skin cancer that can come from these particular areas that we see as dark spots. The dark spots are often melanin. One of the damages that we know that contributes to it is the sun, but it's not the only one.
Is the sun the worst thing about it? I mean, is wearing sunscreen super important? Or is it a combination of pollution and other things? Tell us.
Joel, you're right. It's a combo. The sun gets blamed. And if we get sunburns, that's not good. That raises our inflammation index and all of that. But we need sun. Sun is how we produce vitamin D. Sun is how we get happy hormones, happy chemicals that our brain produces. When we cover ourselves with sunscreen, we can get some sun in through our eyes, but then we wear sunglasses. So the sun does damage when we get too much. A glass of wine does damage when we get too much. Radiation does damage when we get too much. So a little bit of sun every day is power. Too much sun is the damage. Let me talk about what is a melanocyte cell. Can you bring that one up, Joel?
Yeah, let's do that.
We have melanocyte cells at the base of our skin. So imagine your skin is a mattress and a box springs. So at the base of the mattress is where all the skin cells reproduce every month and a new cell comes to the surface. Well, a melanocyte cell, depending on how dark your skin is, I'm fair. My husband's Italian, so he's a lot darker. And I have Native American in me, but it doesn't show. But a Native American would be a lot darker if they were 100%. So that's the number of melanocyte cells. You can tell they look like a finger. When this melanocyte cell is stimulated, when it's irritated, so it's irritated before the sun has touched it. Let's say we've used a chemical hairspray. Well, that hairspray lands on us, or we've used a chemical in a lotion, or get this one, you're at the gas station. Do you smell fumes? Well, your skin's been touched by it. Where's all the rubber gone from your rubber tires? Why do you need new tires? Where's the rubber?
I don't know. The air?
It's not on the road. It's not rubbery.
Yeah.
It's in the air.
Oh.
You drive a car, you stop in a parking lot, you get covered with microscopic dust. That's part of why when you wash your face, it looks dark. It's not just dead skin cells. These melanocyte cells are irritated by that. We've got other cells that are irritated too. But when they're irritated, they produce an abundance of these little, what we call dendrites, the little dots that look like grapes there at the end of the fingers. So if we look at the next picture,
Oh, yeah, let's do
I
that.
tried to find something that would let you see how they leave the melanocyte cell and move up towards the surface. Now that's probably not going to be a very serious brown spot. That's just putting some color in the skin. Or if we have a little bit of a tan.
Yeah.
So that's how these dendrites fill the skin, go up through the different, everywhere between those cells is a little highway. So think of that as part of the plumbing system for the skin, moving all the way up to the top. But if that melanocyte cell is irritated, here would be an example of 10 times the number of dendrites or melanin, which is the pigment that comes out of that melanocyte cell. So my pigment is a light color brown. My husband's pigment is more yellow because of his Mediterranean heritage. But this would be an example of what a brown spot looks like. Or when we saw that very first picture,
Yeah.
this is an example of skin that is damaged.
Oh,
So
this
that
lady.
very first one.
Yeah.
So all of those spots is an intense deposit of melanin, but it's not showing on the surface so much. The skin's a little red,
Yeah.
but it's underneath there. It's producing too much. That's why I called the skin constipated, is A, because, whoa, people go, whoa, wait a minute. What was that word? I'll really tune in and listen now.
Yeah.
But it's all the garbage that the skin doesn't have a strong enough garbage system to take the garbage out.
So you can
So-
actually clean your skin? Could she, get a lot of that blackness out of there?
Yes, we can clear the skin. Not all damage is reversible, but majority of damage is. So it starts with not only good, clean skincare, it also is don't use any more of the garbage. Limit your exposure. So some things like sunscreens or a moisturizer that's got a strong protectant in it can protect your skin from cigarette smoke, tar, air pollution, the chemicals that we would get exposed to, we can actually trap on the surface of the skin and wash away at the end of the day. So I began to study how to do that. As I learned more about how the skin worked from working in the salons and all those days, when I began making my own product, I would try to find cosmetic chemists and they'd say, well, we don't know anything about how the skin works. We know oil and water and emulsifiers. Like, we don't study the skin. We study chemicals. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. I need to know more and more about how the skin works so that I can make products that honor the skin, not compete with the skin.
Can you tell us about what we're looking at here, about how the irrigation system of the skin, or I forget what you call it?
The plumbing system.
Plumbing system.
Irrigation system, I think, is very good, Joel.
Thank you.
So this is a cross section, and that epidermis is the smallest section at the top. Those melanocyte cells would be located right at the bottom of that epidermis section. Every hair follicle has a sebaceous gland. Sebaceous or sebum is oil. So our skin produces oil, and it all exits on top. We also sweat. That's a eccrine gland or apocrine gland, and sweat comes to the surface. Now, the interesting thing about that no cosmetic company has ever told you is oil and water are separate. Your skin produces each separately and brings it to the surface. Cosmetic companies take oil and water and destroy both of them to make a cream. That was why I had to stop selling creams in 1978, and why it took all the way till 1990 to begin to really understand how to make a clean one. So here's how most cosmetic companies make a cream. They take oil and degrease it. You all know about degreasing oil. You wash dishes. You take a very strong detergent and you put it on that greasy plate, and that detergent just breaks it down. You all know about sweat, and you also know it's salty, so that when you sweat, you've got all these minerals in your sweat. Well, if you take water in a cosmetic laboratory and you degrade it, meaning you remove all the minerals, you will cause that water to evaporate very quickly. Well, we don't want this moisture to evaporate quickly. So if I were to put on a typical cream, and I don't have somebody else's typical cream here,
Yeah.
but if I were to put that on, those chemicals go inside and degrease my own sebum, destroy it, and degrade, remove the minerals from my own sweat, and my skin evaporates, and along come wrinkles twice as fast. What's the difference between a prune and a plum? The amount of water in
The
there.
amount of water, yeah. Or a raisin and a grape.
And a grape. And a grape and a plum both have oil in the skin that help hold or trap it. So I had to learn how to make a cream, which became so challenging. But how could I make a nice cream and not degrease the oil or degrade the water? And it came about from a very smart chemist. I'm going to put this on the back of my hands and enjoy it. And hey, I'll put some on my face too. I got it. Can we ever get too much moisture? No. And so I began to learn that this guy in Italy had figured out how to make a micelle. He knew how to take certain olive oil components and allow me to trap the oil in water so that the oil stayed whole and complete. We use plum oil, avocado oil, whatever oil we use, we haven't degraded it. We haven't caused it to go rancid by messing with it. And the water that surrounds it has to have minerals in it because that's what holds that oil in place. So you look at any of my creams, spread out the cream on a microscope and look at it under a lens, what you're going to see is lots and lots of little bubbles. Well, easy in concept, hard to keep that cream from separating over time. But again, some very smart people.
Boy, you're really you're on a journey about finding these things. And you really enlist the help of other people, which is really a great quality that you have.
Well, thank you, Joel. They know more than I do.
Well, it's really wonderful because a lot of times it's really hard to reach out to other people and get the help that you need. You also did some advocacy and legislation work, lobbying the Congress. And can you tell us a little bit about that and what that was like? Sure. And was there a lot of pushback? And tell us about
it. Let me start at the culmination of that career and then back it up a little bit.
Okay.
The culmination after taking many, many, many signatures, thousands of signatures in bags to congressmen. And the congressman, Waxman from California, he only wanted to see California signatures. So I had to go to California and get all those bags. Senator Kennedy, Edward Kennedy from Massachusetts, he only cared what his constituents said. So I had to take him bags of signatures. So carrying these big mail bags into their offices after getting appointments and saying, here is all the people in your state that want you to do something about chemicals that are in cosmetics. That was after going to the FDA for years and years and years. And it was one of those years that I was told, you know what, Linda Chaé, we've got somebody higher up on the upper floors that don't want you to access the library today. They want you to go into the meeting room. I don't know if you're in trouble or not, but somebody high up wants to meet with you. And I was like, okay, I don't think I did anything wrong.
Yeah.
And so I went into the library and my husband was with me that day. And I sat there and they came in and they said, so Linda Chaé, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to take down the FDA? I said, no. And he goes, why do you keep coming here? We hear you're taking signatures to Congress. And I said, I'm coming here trying to find out why the FDA is not doing its job. You've got laws on your books from 1938. I know where they are because I go in that library and I look at them. And in 1938, there were tons of chemicals that was taken off the market, and you had the authority to enforce that. I want to know why you're not doing that. I want to know what I need to do to help the FDA do it. Wow. And he goes, well, you must have fallen off the turnip truck. And I said, excuse me? He said, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, I do too. You want me to show you the laws? You must not be familiar with the laws that have given you that power. And he says, no. He said, let me tell you the way it works. He said, have you ever seen the FDA be in a courtroom? Well, I don't know. I'm not exactly paying attention to your court schedule. And he said, have you ever heard in the news, FDA sues XYZ company? And I said, no. And he said, we don't. He said, we don't have the power to take on those big chemical companies. So we have to just turn a blind eye to certain things. And I said, I don't think that's right. You've got mercury still in products that are affecting people, and you have no idea, I bet you, what fluoride is doing. And he says, well, just stop. You're not.
Whoa.
You're not going to make any difference. And I said, well, maybe I need to go talk to Congress about the FDA and give you more power, give you more money to enforce, taking care of the people, keeping us safe. I think it's taken people many years to finally start paying some attention to that. I think there's far more conversation in the media and awareness in the public now than ever. But I went as far as meeting with enough Congress people, and it was Edward Kennedy, again from Massachusetts, that said, all right, Linda, I'm going to set you up to speak in front of Congress. You're right. We've done a pathetic job, and we are not protecting the American people.
Wow.
I was set to speak in front of Congress on September 15th, the year of 9/11. So when September 11 happened, everything else was canceled.
Oh, no.
Congress had far more important things to do.
That's always what happens.
And I had a booklet for every person in Congress. I had a cream to hand them all to show them things. But we were under attack, and so
and it never came about again.
But I still continued to have conversations with certain people in Congress. I'll tell you one funny story. I really, really wanted to meet with Waxman from California. I felt like I needed to get his attention. So I had a friend of a congressman that said, okay, Linda, you've got to go to lunch on Thursday. That's white bean soup in the Senate lunchroom. Okay, I'll take you. Yeah. She said, oh, now we got to go sit over here. So we sat next to this really quite older lady. It was Senator Waxman's mother. She had me tell Senator Waxman's mother all about it. Pretty soon she goes, just a minute, Henry, come on over. You got to listen to this lady. You got to have her come to California and make some differences. So that's that piece of history.
Sometimes that's how you get things done, right? Now, what drove you? Because you could have just made your own products. I mean, like, just buy my products. Don't buy these other things that are out there. What drove you to change things on a national scale?
Well, Joel, I had a client way back in those salon days, and I had a lot of cancer patients because of doing the individual eyelashes and being on that television show. And I had a beautiful lady, Edna, and Edna came to me one day and in a wheelchair, and she said, Linda, I have a big favor. I want you to do my makeup at my funeral. And I said, Edna, why are you talking about your funeral? We've been talking about the little engine that could. We've been talking about how you can heal and be well. And she says, Linda, the cancer's a lot worse, and I don't have that long. And I want to buy a bunch of your peach day cream and a bunch of your products, and I want to slather myself, and then I want you to take care of me in the morgue. Would you be willing to do that? So I'm crying, and she's crying. And I had just learned 2 weeks before in my college class the MSDS sheet that my products contained some carcinogenic ingredients, some tetragenic, mutagenic, and penetration enhancers. I said, Edna, I can't sell you any of my products. Look, my shelves are empty. I'm throwing them away. Why? I told her. She said, Linda, I trusted you all these years, last year and a half, and I've been using products. Is that why I'm dying? Is that why my cancer is worse? And I realized that I had some culpability. What if my cream is part of what contributed to that? What if all the creams out there were contributing to people having cancer and children and what was happening in the womb? I have a responsibility. And Edna said, she said, Linda, I'm not so mad at you, but you got to do something about this. You got to promise me. And I did. I promised Edna. And then at her in the morgue, I'd never touched a cold dead body before, but I was holding her face and I was crying and I said, Edna, I promise you I'm going to do this, but you got to help me. You got to go up there. You got to be up there and you got to help me. You got to open doors. I don't know how to make this. I don't know how to make a cream, but I'll try. I'll try. So
That's a beautiful story.
you see, motivations come from sometimes terrible mistakes and learning how to forgive yourself and having that pain drive you. So everybody's had a painful experience. Look at how that painful experience could make you make a difference, help you make a difference.
Beautiful.
You got me, Joel.
I got you. That's an amazing story. Amazing story. Now I've got a surprise for you. Bringing on Mama J. Mama J.
Hi.
I love Mama J.
I love Linda.
How did you two meet?
We met, we moved to La Vida, Colorado in the year 2000. And there was a group of us women, I don't know, we had a dynamic group of women in this town that were everything. Artists, geniuses, scientists, and we just all kind of met. And that's how I met Linda. And I remember going to her home before she has a plant. She has a manufacturing plant now, but it used to be in her home. And I can remember that's probably the first time I really got to visit and know her power and just how incredible she is. So we've just been very special friends. We have a lot of other things in common, and I'm so happy you are on here. And this is a fantastic story. I use your product. I have for years. And one of my questions was, I am somebody who has been lazy with my skincare, right? I'm 73 and I look 73.
No,
Is
no,
it too late? Is it too late to help my skin? You know, I'll tell you what I use. I use your the cream, the COQ cream. I use the waffles. I use the moisturizers, exfoliant. Am I still helping my skin at this age?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every positive thought we have helps our brain, helps our attitude. Every positive cream we put on helps our skin. So we don't have to do it twice a day. We don't have to do a twice a day routine. It sounds like you like to wash once a day or every couple of days. You don't wear a whole bunch of makeup. Maybe you do when you're on the show, but typically you don't. Oh, when you're on stage, when you're on stage, you do. But
Yes.
I
Yes.
sometimes, on my weekends off, I'll just real quick use the pads. Notice not only the dead skin, but even the things that are in your home. You do want to get rid of the pollution and putting on your cream. So Jay, absolutely, it makes a difference until it doesn't, until we don't need to put on skincare anymore. So good question. And the same with eye cream, the same with putting it on our hands, putting it on our body. Absolutely, it makes a difference.
That's great. Looks like Mama J is frozen now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you're back.
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. Also,
not
do
your
not
fault.
forget to talk about your cleaning products.
Yeah,
You
talk
have
about
other
that
stuff
and also
besides.
your pet products.
Yes.
Well, we have household cleaning products. I was inspired to make those when I was traveling the country, and some ladies said, we're twins, we can't have babies because we clean houses, and we wonder if that has something to do with it. And I said, well, let me start just hand making you some stuff. Well, within 2 to 3 years, both of them had children. Both of them got pregnant. And they gave all the credit to stop using the toxic chemicals when they were cleaning their home. I'd like people to visit Chaé Organics
Yes.
because I am a sponsor of lunch
Yes.
therapy.
Yay.
And the way I can help sponsor lunch therapy is the amount of money that I give you guys from people going on the website and buying products. So I put a special on for everybody. I've got 2 products with 40% off. That's a huge discount. Like, that's giving it away, but we didn't care. Well, if we gave it away, we wanted lunch therapy to be
so kind
able
of you.
to have as big a commission as we could give them. And the new customers, anybody that comes and buys, well, forever that you buy, unless you come in under a different email address, you'll always be linked to lunch therapy. And we together can support their good work.
Oh,
So
thank you, Linda.
Perfection Serum takes away those brown spots. It even has things like licorice root in it that calms that melanocyte cell. It has daisies in it that help those pigments not stain the skin. Lots of vitamin C. So between the Perfection Serum, which we talked about, and the CoQ10, which really helps provide that whole plumbing system, water and oil kept separate to the skin. Let's all do what we can to support lunch therapy. Good
Thanks.
people need to keep
There's a link in
sharing
the show
this.
notes. And thank you so much for saying that, Linda. We need all the help we can get. All of us do, especially these days, and so really appreciate that. Plus, it's great to be able to advocate products that you believe in and people
Thank
that you
you,
believe
Linda. Mwah, love you.
in. Really,
Thank you, Jay.
Jay's back. Jay, you want to dance with us? Dance break?
Well, if I'm not frozen, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Linda, for being on the show. This has been an extreme gift.
Yeah.
And also, thank you. You gave us some products for us to try out. I've been using them, and they've been really helping. And
You are looking mighty fine right now.
thanks. Yes. All right.
Well, I'll stay and dance with you.
All right. That's great. I love it. I don't know if Mama J will be there, but she's
Skincare for men.
Yeah.
Men use these products. We don't have female smells in them. And your skin really is the same as our skin. And I know you like it simple. So we've got simple. We just don't put a man's name on it. We call it Chaé. And someday I'll be on the show and tell you where on earth that name Chaé came from. But absolutely,
All right.
the products are for you. You're very important and your skin is very important.
Definitely. Are you sure you don't want to tell us where Chaé came from? Can you give us the...
Do we have time?
Sure. We have a little time.
All right. So when I met my husband, my name was Linda Kay.
Oh.
And he goes, oh, Linda Kay, like Mary Kay. And I said, no, not at all. My products aren't like Mary Kay. No, no. And he said, well, if you don't like your name, why don't you change it? And I said, well, that would be radical. That's radical. So between the time we met and the time we got married, he was researching all sorts of names for me. And he thought I was a lot like Che Rivera because I was a rebel
Yeah.
in the industry. So Che was too harsh. So he researched and came up with CHAE, Chaé.
Yeah.
So then we did a quick trademark search, well, a long one, around the world to make sure it didn't mean pimple on your nose or ugly
Yes.
wart or something, right? You
Right,
don't know what
right.
the name means.
Smart.
And in French, Chaé, the sound Chaé means house of, so that's good, house of
Yeah.
beauty. In Japan, it means young Juvenes. That's good.
Yeah.
In Korea, Chaé's the only king that brought peace to North and South Korea. So peace, house of youth and peace. My favorite is Mandarin, Chaé, gratitude from the depth of my heart. And that's what I feel God gave me for my life.
And we have gratitude from the depth of our heart for you being on the show. Thank you so much, Linda Chaé. Let's dance this thing out. Mama J, are you going to, I don't know where she is, but anyway, maybe she'll be there.
I'll dance with you.
Sounds good. And she's back.
We're gonna ride till we fall. They say we got no future at all. They wanna keep us out, can't hold us down anymore. Gonna ride till we fall.
When we hit the bottom, nothing's gonna stop us. Climb to the top with you. We could be the greatest ones who ever made it. Yeah, I could be talking you. They're trying to hate, but we won't change anything at all. Oh, we're gonna rise till we fall. They think we just dropouts, living at our mom's house. Parents must be so proud, they know it all. They don't speak our language, they say we're too savage. Yeah, no, we don't give up anymore. We're gonna rise till we fall. We're gonna rise till we fall.
All right, thanks everybody for joining us today. This has been Lunch Therapy with Linda Chaé. Ooh, can't do that one. That one's for Tuesday. Tune in Tuesday for this one.